Yo, what's up, y'all? And today I kind of want to talk about just the top five things that I really dislike about most MMOs. It kind of preface this. These are not things that all MMOs do, but it's something that kind of runs along like typical MMOs. And number one, I want to start with is when you hop into the game and you're trying to choose something. I mean, for me, I'm very indecisive. So I just feel like there should be a way for you to try out the classes that look interesting to you in every game. I don't care what it is. You should be able to try out that class and not just like some of the abilities. You should be able to try out the end game of that class because in MMOs you have such a long journey and you don't want to get to the end of, well, not the end, it's the middle, but the end of your leveling journey and find out, this is, I've wasted my time, I don't like this class. That's kind of a bad feeling, and I just hope that more MMOs do this, add like a way to play the class that you're interested in. Like, if the one thing that I really like about Lost Ark is you can actually play the class that you want to try in the beginning. As soon as you finish the tutorial, you can try out all three like subclasses of your class, and if you don't like it, you can just go back and make a new character, uh, try it again. It doesn't take long. It's like a you waste like maybe 10 minutes, and after you do the first one, I'm pretty sure you can skip it. So I think that's a great approach to this system. I think that many MMOs could use that. Uh, yeah. So number two, I really hate the idea of you have to log in every day. It's just a meme. Like daily chores every day. You got to go on and you got to do this, 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 and this. Nobody wants to do that every day. That's not good. Like there are dailies that are okay, but once you make them like a requirement to be competitive, it's not fun. You need to take that out of your game. I understand that it helps with your play metrics, but it's really not good. And I think in general it builds animosity within the player base. On top of that, on top of the animosity, it makes people get tired of your game, and they're going to stop playing after a shorter amount of time. Uh, Number three, I was thinking RNG punishment is one of the things that has made me stop playing games more than almost anything else. Uh, so what I'm talking about here is like, for instance, in Black Desert, if you go into Black Desert and you want to do almost anything, you're going to be going through a shit ton of RNG. If you want to upgrade your weapons, you're going to be smashing those weapon stones. It is so annoying, and you get punished super hard if you fail. It's not a fun system. It's not fun. Okay, the gameplay to get that is monotonous. Generally, the way you're going to get that money back is just by grinding, and that's not fun. I mean, you can grind, or you can grind in another way by like farming, or I suppose you could do guild wars, but not everybody has the time to be able to do that. Uh, I just think that it's a really bad system. I think it's terrible. I think the reason why that game didn't take off like it should have is because of the RNG systems. I think they're terrible and they hold people back. Uh, yeah. RNG, I mean, you need it for some things, but not everything. You don't need to put too much in it. Uh, and my fourth one is kind of forsaking stories. Sorry about that. My first, my fourth one is forsaking the story. Now, I bring this up because I thought about this recently. Many MMOs don't really worry about the story that much. For instance, like New World. I would say that the amount of time that someone took to write the New World story, man, it's a 3 hour meeting over separate days. with different people, okay? Because that story is dog shit, okay? I'm gonna tell you that now, all right? I mean, the game is fun, but look, that story is not where it should be for a game of that kind of caliber. It's not. Uh, it's cool, I guess. It's like watching a. It's not cool. Okay, it's all right. But I noticed this even with like WoW. The story is like a side thing. You don't really get it in the game. Everything is in books or something on the outside. But back in the day, in Classic WoW, in TBC, in Wrath of the Lich King, even in Cataclysm, and even parts of Pandaria, you got a lot of story in those games, in that part of the game. And I really appreciate that more so now than I really realized I did when I was younger. But I think Forsaking the Story takes a huge element out of MMOs. I mean, if you look at Final Fantasy, wow, the story in Final Fantasy is great, and people love it. It's probably one of the main reasons why people play Final Fantasy. So I just think that if they want to take out the game, that's going to lead into a kind of feeling that the game is not a real world. It's not a living place. This is not somewhere that you go to have fun. This is somewhere you go to do something serious, do your work. It's not great. And it kind of leads me into my fifth point. So this one is kind of I kind of lied about the title of this video because it's a good clickbait sound. It's not 5. We're actually going to do 6. But now I think that the idea of people speeding through everything is so prevalent in MMOs these days. And I think the reason why is all these things kind of added up. Even me, and I want to make sure everybody understands this. I only recently was able to stop doing this because I was playing Final Fantasy. When I first played Final Fantasy, I just sped through it. I didn't do any of the story. I didn't do any of that. And that's really bad because the Final Fantasy story, I really regret not having paid attention. And I kind of want to make a new character just so I can do it again. Because New Game Plus, it's got some problems. I would rather be able to level through that, but whatever. But I think it's specifically just MMOs do this. And people can blame WoW, but WoW is not the only MMO that does this. But WoW is probably the worst one because it's the most popular one that does this. In WoW, everybody is so concerned about how to get this the fastest way. And that's fine if that is your playing preference. But if you are, let's say you're just someone coming into the game and your mindset is already like that, it's going to ruin you and ruin your experience. And when you actually get to that point, you're going to be like, I really don't give a shit about this world. I don't care. My longevity in this game is not real. Okay, it's not there anymore. But I mean, that's a problem that a lot of games have. I actually really don't think that Final Fantasy has this problem, to be honest. And that's kind of brings us into the next problem, which I think almost every single game does this to a different extent. And that is milking players for money. Okay, it's actually 6, but we're gonna keep it. We're gonna say this is number 5 after the 5 from before. But anyways, number 5, milking players for money. Okay, look, every single MMO, matter of fact, almost every single game you play, there's a cash shop. Okay, it's almost inevitable. When I play an MMO, I'm not really thinking like, oh, I really want to go on the store and buy an outfit. Like, I would rather do that in the game. But I think that is acceptable for there to be some like outfits or cosmetic things. Now, the problem with that is when you have, I mean, the one that keeps coming back is WoW, because they have for fear of missing out things on like cash shop items. Like before they had some mount bundle that included all of these mounts that were going to go away. And then like they sold it and everybody was like, "Oh." I mean, everybody who was like talking on Reddit knew that it was a fear of missing out tactic. But there's a lot of people that don't use Reddit like that, and they're not as deeply into the system. And they probably really thought that it was leaving. In either way, it's obviously a manipulation of trying to manipulate people. So that said, when I saw this, I was like, this is bullshit. I hate this. And then, lo and behold, 2 months later, some of those same mounts were on the store again. Who would have known? Who would have known that? Like, come on. That's the kind of stuff that happens in MMOs these days. And it's just, I think everybody hates it. I don't think there's anybody that really likes it. You know, there's a certain amount of cosmetic stuff that's okay. And in games like PoE, I know it's not an MMO, but PoE, now I will say PoE is way too expensive. It's too much. But in PoE, I understand it's a free game. However, even in Final Fantasy, there's stuff that I'm not okay with being on the store, like the boosts and things like that. I don't like that. I think people should play through that story. They shouldn't really get the opportunity to do a boost. I really don't like it. Same with WoW. I don't like it. Tokens. I don't like them. Man, the WoW token actually, I feel like, did the most damage to the game than anything else. And I think this is just a prevalent thing of MMOs doing, is bringing cash shop items and just milking their players. But you know what? I think I've said enough about that. So everybody, please hit that subscribe, hit that like, and I'll see you next time. Peace.